What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to today's edition of Free Tool Friday. My name is Tyler S. Clark, humble leader of the Proactive Accountants community. And yes, you are my dream client. You deserve proactive content, and that's what I'm going to bring to you today. And today's topic is how to find quality bookkeeping for your accounting firm. Now, I want to just take a very quick moment and make this very clear, because I have people who will ask me and be like, Tyler, you say you work with accountants. Does that mean you work with bookkeepers? In what world does bookkeeping not relate to accounting? You can do no accounting without bookkeeping. You can really do no tax, or at least no ethical tax, without bookkeeping. Bookkeeping is the pillar upon which accounting stands. So yes, we do work with bookkeepers. You are critical to the entire function of the accounting world, and quality bookkeeping is a hard thing to find. It's something that we routinely help our top clients with. And I want to share with you some of the strategies that they leverage to solve this problem semi-permanently. Okay. And I say semi-permanently because things change in terms of relationships, in terms of in-house employees, in terms of strategic partners, in terms of outsourcing solutions. And what I want to do is I wanted to give you a little bit of a matrix to making decisions on whether you should change those, to move on from relationships, and how to even find new ones and be able to win back your time by pulling yourself out of a little bit of minutia and make sure the super critical, incredibly important skill is taken care of the right way. So first, let's talk about setting expectations properly before you even get into the bookkeeping hunt. What do you actually want? What do you actually need in terms of a bookkeeper? Because that is a very broad term, right? I think we all understand that there are maybe some not great bookkeepers, accountants, tax professionals, marketers, right? There's a lot of people who use these terms, and we're trying to find and communicate to the people who are good at what they do and want to do the job. Can be difficult to do that. So let me go ahead and break down with you. And as soon as I saw this matrix from my coach, shout out to James P. Friel, it just light bulb went off. I just love it. It's super, super simple, super straightforward, and it helps with hiring as well as analyzing talent. Okay. And this is known as my, it's not mine, but this is what I teach, is known as the willing and able matrix. So you've got the able axis here. You've got the willing axis here. And what we really want is we want someone who is willing to do the job. Sounds crazy, right? Wants to do it, is willing to do it, and has the ability to do the job to your standards. And this is what I meant when I said set your expectations clearly first. Do not try and hire someone who is more of a zero specialist as opposed to QuickBooks when you know you're all QBO, and all of a sudden you're like, oh, I have to train them to understand this new platform, but I have no training resources. Like, your expectations on the front end weren't as clear as you needed them to be. Or you say, I'm going to set the expectations that as long as you have a high degree of willingness, you might have a low degree of ability with what our respective tasks are, but my responsibility as the manager and the leader of my dream firm is to be proactive in making sure that if you want to do the job and you're relatively able to do it, right? Not super able, but you're relatively able to do it. I'm going to make sure I get you to a higher level. I'm going to elevate your abilities. But again, are you prepared to do that right now if you were to bring somebody in? Probably not. And this is a hard realization for a lot of people, is they go, I want to bring somebody on board, right? Or I'm ready. And then they bring them on board and that person's like, okay, right? They stare at you like a puppy dog and they're like, what are we going to do? And they're like, you're supposed to know. And they're like, am I? It's like, and so there's this disconnect because we haven't had those clear expectations in the beginning, right? Be proactive about documenting your processes for how the work needs to be done. Whether you're outsourcing, bringing in-house, or using a strategic referral partner, you got to set the tone for your dream firm, or else don't be surprised you just kind of happen to have a firm that runs sort of chaotically. You've got to set the tone. So again, willing, able, okay, right here, that's the best. And the higher they are on the ability chart, that is directly correlated to how much money you have to invest. This is what I meant earlier. It's like there's a lot of people who use bookkeeping, tax, marketer, any of those terms, but the abilities vary dramatically. They can have an incredible, like, I want to do it. I'm the most willing person in the world. And it's like, but you don't even know a debit from a credit. So it's like, I can't pay for too much for lack of ability. You're going to train them up to be more able to do it if you'd like, or you open up the pocketbook, so to speak, or the checkbook, and you're going to want to be able to pay more early, but you're more hands off in the training process. That's a strategic decision on the front end. What are you looking for? Are you willing to do the training, and do you have the training prepared? Now, the other side of this graph to me is the most dangerous part. You'll notice I'm really only talking about the willing side, because when you cross over into unwilling, just give me a comment down below if you've ever had to deal with someone on your team who has been unwilling to do the job. And that might be a reflection of compensation, might be a reflection of life changes that are happening outside of work that you don't really have any control over. It might just be personality type and they're just in the wrong role. I don't really know, but this to me is the most dangerous part of entrepreneurship, is choosing to put up with someone who is unwilling but able to do the job. That's the most frustrating thing of all. It's like, come on, I know you can do this. Why are we having this conversation again about how this needs to be reconciled, or when you need to reach out to a client? Like, you have the ability, but for some reason you're unwilling to do it. It's the most frustrating part of being an entrepreneur. And unfortunately, I don't really believe that you can make someone want to do something. You can lead the horse to water, proverbially speaking. You can't make it drink. Same thing is true here. I just like to say, hey, it's not working out. Hire fast, fire fast. This is the fire fast part. Once they're unwilling, or once you realize that they are unable to become more able, that's when you're going to go, okay, time to move on. It's okay. And one thing about firing, because I know a lot of people hear firing and they go, if it's not a good fit for you, it's not a good fit for them. You are, unfortunately, my belief is you are holding them back by keeping them in a role that is not conducive for them and their personality type. They deserve to go and find something that's a better fit for who they are and what they do, and to be part of a team that loves them. And if it's not you and with you and your firm, that's okay. That's okay. It's a powerful decision for both of you to say, we need to part ways because this isn't mutually beneficial for either one of us. And that can be hard. I know, like, when you're actually having the conversation with that person, but it's necessary. It doesn't mean it's easy. I don't think it should ever be easy to have that conversation, but it's necessary for both of you to grow. And that's what it's about: personal growth and business growth. Okay. So we've covered being able to make things clear internally for ourselves. We've covered understanding when it's appropriate to understand what we're paying for, hire on ability, pay more, when we're going to pay less, but need to understand that we have to train them to be better, pay a little less, but have that training and that time invested to get them up to speed. We also understand unwilling, no thank you, but no thank you. But what we want to do is, now that we have that intrinsic understanding of management decisions, I want us to shift the focus and say, okay, but where is the talent? How do I do this? And what I want to make sure is clear is we should not be limiting ourselves geographically anymore. I just don't, unless you personally need that person in your office, I do not believe that you should limit your talent pool simply because they happen to be born or live within 30 miles of your office. Like, I think about that and it's like, let's take the total talent pool and let's shrink it down as much as possible for a relatively arbitrary reason. Now, if you don't have the tools or the technology or the management style that allows that to happen, that's fine. That's a strategic decision. But I really want you to look hard at that and say, should it be that way? If yes, fine. If not, open it up. Right? Like, open it up. And when we open it up, magical things happen, both from marketing to get your dream clients and being able to attract and retain talent inside of your firm. Now, inside of your firm implies that we're going to have in-house employees. Most people, solopreneurs, when they hear this, they start to freeze up a little bit. And I understand why. But what we need to know is your time as the owner, the dream firm leader of your firm, of your dream firm, your time is the most precious resource. And we have to pull you out of the minutia of the bookkeeping to be able to do higher level, more money making activities. Like, Nobody cares if you're the best bookkeeper in the world if your goal is to be able to build a more profitable and larger firm. They care about your ability to create delegation and leverage and make sure that your time is spent building systems that allow a bookkeeper that is not you to be as good as you at bookkeeping, because your systems and processes are so well built that it's just the same as if you were doing it. Okay. So in-house, open it up, open up the parameters, open it up. If you need US and you don't want to use outsourcing, open it up, put it up. Like when you create a job post, I want you to make that job post, like make it appealing, make it desirable. Why should they want to take this position? What is the tremendous opportunity that's in front of them? And then put it on Indeed, put it on your social media, put it on Glassdoor, put it on LinkedIn, put it on Monster, put it anywhere, Craigslist, put it everywhere that you can put this job post, because why wouldn't you? You don't know where this talent is going to come from. Now, the filtering of the talent is where things get interesting. Because sifting through resumes, put a comment down below. Just like, I hate resumes. Like, I hate resumes. I hate resumes. Resumes are useless. I think they're just completely pointless. So what we recommend is that you set up a Google form. And the Google form, free service, it's super easy. And you ask a couple of questions on the Google form, right? Name, and if you want to attach a cover letter or your resume, that's fine, right? Name, email, and then we'll ask 3 very strategic questions for the position we're hiring for. But one of those questions is always, how do you know when you're doing a good job? Now, how do you know when you're doing a good job is meant to be an open-ended question, because I want them to think about what they think is a good job. Because if they match what my internal expectations are that I've already set for what I consider to be a good job to be, and it matches that answer, I'm going to elevate them to a phone interview. But if they're just like, well, I think a good job is when when I get to leave work at 5 o'clock and not have to worry about anything. It's like, maybe, and maybe that's an okay answer. Again, your expectations. But if I read an answer that's closer, like when I know that my work is error-free and that I've met and exceeded my employer's expectations, like I would read that answer and I'd be like, yes, error-free, yes, right? Like I need that from my bookkeeper. And I want to make sure that like they understand like my expectations, they're going to be they're going to be able to be met. And if you can do just a little above them, we're going to love it, right? That's how you know when you're doing a good job. That's how you know. Not an okay job, a good job. Meet expectations above them and error-free work. That's what I'm looking for, okay? Like I'm elevating that person to a phone conversation, and then we'll see what happens from there, okay? I'm going to speed things up a little bit here. So phone conversation, paid test, okay? I'm gonna send you a file. I'm gonna blank out information. I want you to reconcile this based to the best of your ability. If you have questions, feel free to let me know. Paid test. How well do they do the work? How well do they know the tool? How well can they do the particular task? And how efficient are they at doing it? Important to know before you bring them in. Give them a paid test. I'll pay you $50, $20, $30, $100. I don't know, like whatever the hour rate is, you tell me how much time you spent and I'll make sure you pay that, whether or not we elevate you to the position, right? It's like the final barrier before you bring somebody into your firm is like, can you do the job and can you do it efficiently? I've avoided so many bad hires because I implemented a paid test, and I've dramatically shortened the time it takes to interview people because I implemented the form system that I just shared with you. How do you know we're doing a good job? And then 2 technical questions, right? Whatever those are for you, like list your credentials for bookkeeping, how long you've been doing it or whatever. Okay, so that's in-house. Now let's talk about the other 2 options, okay? Outsourcing. I'm gonna have a conversation, an interview with an outsourcing firm that I'm very excited about in a few weeks, that we're gonna be able to talk about some of the hot topics, why it's interesting, why it's what the top firms do, how it's secure, and really why the market is heading in this direction overall. I know some people are like negative to it, but I just want to present the option, like no one way or the other. It's your choice. It's your firm. But remember, if you're going to be anti-outsource, you should probably let your clients know that on the front end, because I bet they appreciate it. Just be advised that like the decisions you make internally for fulfillment, they have marketing ramifications on the front end as well. Okay. And you should be willing to do that. You should be willing to share that information, because whether you're pro or anti or somewhere in the middle, it's worth informing your clients of what your views are on the state of the global economy. Okay. So in terms of outsourcing, there's tons of options. just make sure security is number one in terms of priority, and validate that security. Like, don't just trust them at their words. Like, make sure you understand how their security systems work. Okay. Third is my favorite, and it's the easiest. And to be honest, I think it's the most powerful, is you do not need to be jack of all trades, master of none. If you are a high level CFO, like Kevin, Dream Firm leader, I just got off the phone with his hot seat from our Create Your Dream Firm program. Like, if you're like Kevin and you're Mr. CFO, well, Kevin realized, I'm not doing bookkeeping anymore. I'm not doing the accounting anymore, but I still need it to be done. I still need someone to be able to fulfill this function of the business, but someone who doesn't want to do the CFO side of things. And there are tons of people who love bookkeeping and don't want to be CFO. There are tons of people who love CFO and don't want to do bookkeeping, but you need each other. You need each other. You need to make strategic referrals inside of this community. Be proactive about being like, this is what I like to do. I don't like to do this, but I have a client asking me for it, and I'm not sure how to take care of it. Why don't we set up a strategic alliance and relationship? You put these things together, right? All of a sudden, your marketing woes, they're significantly less because you have people to lean on. Your fulfillment is more efficient because you have people to lean on that are competent and professionals running their dream firms respectively themselves. So again, just to summarize, the willing and able access, critical. Make sure you set internal expectations before you do anything. What are you really looking for? When you go to hire, put it everywhere. If you're bringing in-house, put it everywhere. Put it every which way you can online. When you go to sift through resumes, just make them fill out a Google form. That's the only thing you're going to look at. It's just going to be an Excel spreadsheet. Monitor how you know when they're doing a good job. Okay. Pick the best answers. Elevate to a phone interview. Based on the phone interviews, pick your final 3-4 candidates. Give them a paid test. Pick your best candidate. Move on from there. Okay. Outsourcing, going to have an interview later on. Very excited to talk about that particular topic in a very high quality way. And then finally, strategic referrals. Like, that's the only way that you're going to be able to solve the minutia associated with bookkeeping and continue to move forward on building your dream firm and extract yourself from it and go to higher level activity. So I've got another client call coming up in 2 minutes. So I've got to run. Just want to say thank you so much for investing your most precious resource with me. Remember, only you can make your dream firm a reality, but we help you every step of the way. Go be proactive and build your dream firm. Talk to you soon. Have a wonderful day, everyone.